Nash. Exciting times.
It is. It's it's been a long journey to get to this album.
Yeah.
We first spoke about it in about 2008.
Seriously?
In the office.
2008.
I was doing it was like a charity gig, and I was doing an acoustic set. I think Phil was doing the sound, if I remember rightly.
Probably, yeah.
And at the time, I'd had some kind of tracks there, and I was like, I'd really like to do an acoustic album, Phil. We'll have to work together at some point, which took 8 years to actually happen, because it didn't happen until 2016. But we didn't do the acoustic album we were meant to do, and we still haven't until now.
That doesn't surprise me, I have to say.
It went kind of a bit south every time. Oh, we'll just add this. Oh, we'll just put this in, and now we'll put this in too. So, but we've got here.
And so how would you describe this album then?
It is very authentic, is what I'd say. There's nothing's been plugged in on the album at all, has it?
No, we made the conscious decision to...
Phil Reynolds, as a producer, you should know to talk into the microphone.
I should know to talk into the mic.
Thank
we
you.
decided from the off, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it properly. So there's nothing on tape that hasn't come down a microphone.
Amazing.
A bit of a rod for our own backs at times, but didn't mean we didn't use all the tricks you've got after that. But everything had to be.
What were some of the most challenging elements for you?
Fan noise.
Just
Fan noise.
What now?
Fan noise on my son's laptop. The clock.
The
clock in the kitchen, which is... We should probably get songwriting credits, actually.
Yeah.
So if you listen very closely, you will hear the clock.
Yeah, don't have to listen that closely.
I just find it amazing that it picks the tiny little things up. It's
the problem
crazy,
when you're working
crazy.
with good mics is you forget all the little noise, and you have to remember to turn the washing machine off.
Yeah.
Oh,
you know, the Beatles didn't have to put up with this. Yeah.
So it's essentially like a recording of your house by the sound
A
of
lot of
things.
it, actually, There's a lot of that. It should be credited. We need to sort the credits out for that, actually, yeah.
Oh, amazing. So, I mean, you are known for writing music that is very honest, very personal.
Yeah.
You know, you don't shy away from tackling tricky subjects. And although you're a sunny little fella, Steve, but you do sometimes tackle those challenging subjects. So what sort of material have we got on the album?
It's fairly varied from... what we've done is we've reworked some of the older songs. So things that we've released before, we've stripped them right back and gone right back to the start. And we've been really lucky to have Laura McMillan playing violin from she played with Pelly in Amsterdam and in Prowse, and Polly Ver as well from playing cello. So we've been really lucky to have these guys involved, and they've really brought out the emotion in some of the tracks as well. I think they've really pulled the emotion out. So we've got 14 tracks, so they vary right across different subjects. And we've also recorded the first song that I ever wrote as well, which was on a Muldoon album quite a few years ago, and it's called Up in the Clouds, and it's the first song that I wrote, and I remember showing it to my late grandfather on the stairs of my mum and dad's, and we figured that we feel like we've gone full circle, so we thought it would be a really nice way to end that full circle in the way that we've done the album by putting the first song that I ever wrote
That
on
must have
the
been
album.
so emotional for you.
Yeah, it was tough. It was a tough one. Yeah,
I was listening to the album today, and I think it's probably my favourite on the album, actually.
Yeah, it was tough to record. Gaz from Muldoon come in and did a couple of little bits for us as well.
Lovely.
So it was nice for Gaz to come into it. And so that's a nice way to finish the album off. But we've also got a cover on the album as well. And it's A Little Time by the Beautiful South, which Paul Heaton has agreed and fine too.
Did you speak to him?
It was a tweet, and I was feeling a bit cheeky, and I sort of just tweeted, and he came back and he said, "I have no problem," and I can't say exactly what he said, but it was along the lines of, "As long as it's not as good as our version," I think it's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
But
He sounds
with
like a
some smiley
sweetheart.
faces, and
Yeah.
so he was more than happy. So that's agreed with Paul as well. So
That's amazing.
so that's pretty cool. So it's a very up and down album, I'd say, but it is very honest again, and it does talk about different emotions, and that's sort of what I write about, I guess.
Yeah, and Sabina, you feature on it quite a lot of it, don't you?
Yes.
Again,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
always good. You obviously clearly enjoy working with Steve and Phil.
It's a nice time, you
Don't
know.
talk with us, I think.
It's,
Stockholm Syndrome. That's
Honestly,
all it is.
no, do you know, it's just been nice because we normally do it on a Sunday, and I've been busy on Saturday at work, and I'm like, I don't really want to do it, but I just used to come down, and it was just so nice, and like we've had times where we couldn't record because somebody would be laughing too much. So Steve had to be sent out a few times. Because we just, it's just, you're just silly. We just came out with the most randomest things, and it's just been great.
And that often translates into the kind of feel of the record, doesn't it? If you're having a good time, you're enjoying each other's company, that will hopefully translate.
I think that's the one thing I'd say about the album is that we've quite often, Phil and myself have spoke about, we hear albums that are looking for perfection. We're not doing that. We want the music to come across as mates, having a good time. And that's more important to us than the perfection. The little notes that might sound slightly out, we're not bothered. We're not about perfection. We want people to think, we're playing it live, and we want people to enjoy that experience. And when you're playing live, you will have the odd little thing that isn't quite right, and we don't want to lose that. And that's the authenticity of what we want to kind of put out there.
Well, do you know what we need to do? We need to let people hear, I think, something from the album. So you've sent over a track. It's Games, and I think is this where the album title comes from?
Yes. Yeah. There's a line in the song, "Without the grape there is no wine," which is where that's where we got the title from. And Laura on violin just.
It's gorgeous, isn't it?
Just Laura, everybody that were brought in, Sabina, Chris Cole, Gaz, everybody, they've just knocked it out of the park, and everybody has. Not that you're sort of not expecting people to be good, but all of them have surpassed expectations.
Definitely.
Really have. It's been amazing.
When the girls did their bits, and I just remember not hearing the song beforehand and then after. And I was just like, oh my God, this is like a different song.
Yeah.
What is this? I kept suggesting trumpets, but no one agreed with me. So like, maybe next time, but...